Hey there, it is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Well, she says it's her husband's fault, so we're with her. Okay, Scarlet Hiltibidal is with us. She's got a brand new book out. It's called "You're the Worst Person in the World." Scarlet, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. How did I do? Did I do okay?
You did excellent. I told you, no pressure. Nobody gets my name right, so I don't ever expect them to. So you're A+. Bonus points.
Scarlett's got a great book. I love the title, and I know there's good stuff in it, but I just love the title. You're the worst person in the world. I think I might have known that already. It's all good.
Good.
But help us a little bit. How did you? And this is not your first rodeo, right? You've done other works, but on this book, what's it about, and why did you come up with that title?
Okay, first I'll answer why did I come up with the title, and then I'll tell you what it's about.
Okay.
Then it'll make more sense.
Okay.
So my first book was called Afraid of All the Things. It was kind of memoir, testimony, anxieties, this thread through my life. And but it's lighthearted, it's supposed to be funny. So when I was picking the cover and going back and forth with my publisher, I was sending all the cover options to my best friend. And one of the there were like fangs on the cover, and I thought this was funny to have like all the most scary images. And so they send these color palette options. One of them was dark red. So I said, Katie, what do you think of the dark red? And she is a very supportive, wonderful friend. And it was my first published book. So she was like, Scarlett, I'm so excited for you. Honestly, the dark red is a little bit scary. And I know you're going for funny. So maybe not dark red. But if it was just if your first book was just a blank white book and all it said was you're the worst person in the world, I'd still be so excited. And I laughed because I was like, I was just thinking of a Christian book with that title sitting on a coffee table. And so I laughed really hard and I was like, Katie, that's so funny. That should be a book someday. So that was in 2019 or 2018. And so then I started thinking about it. And, you guys, we just met. We're just new friends. So you don't know my whole testimony. But anxiety was the main thread. And I started thinking about, the Christian life and how you've got to get to this point of humility and recognizing you're the worst to even see your need for Jesus, which we all need Jesus. But then I also thought about how for me, I became a Christian when I was 14, but I felt really stuck in that noticing I was the worst. And then I was still kind of making my faith all about me and do better every day. And so it wasn't until I realized that the gospel isn't just my hope for someday, like someday, hopefully I'll be approved, but I better do a really good job at being a Christian. Like that's the opposite of the Christian faith.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Good on my behalf. And the goodness in me springs up out of my gratitude. And I've been so loved, I want to love him back. And so when that clicked for me, that was huge. So I thought, okay, I can actually use this really funny joke my friend made as a book title and share stories of me being the worst to hopefully help readers laugh and see more. I hope that they see more than just, wow, that girl is the worst. I hope that they also see that they are the worst and that after that, they can repent and turn from their sin and experience that daily turning from looking at this stuff. Sorry, this is radio. I'm putting my hand in front of me. Colossians 3:2, set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. So if you can discipline yourself to keep your eyes, put your eyes back on the Lord every day, realize your life is about worshiping him, then you can actually have the joy and peace that we all want so badly. So there you go.
So this may be asking to go too deep, but where you said that the anxiety was a lot of the cause of that. Where did the anxiety come from for you, do you think?
That's a good question. No, not too deep. I'm an open book. I had kind of a weird upbringing. My mom was an actress on Saturday Night Live. My biological dad was a fire-eating magician. And
wow.
I know. I say these things now.
Wow.
Well, here's the thing. I'm 36. I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And that's a cool story. But when I was a little kid, I was very panicked about life. My parents got divorced. I was growing up in the wings of comedy clubs, which stand-up comedy is like my main hobby, watching it on Netflix in sweatpants and eating nachos. And now I see why. I'm like, duh, of course I'm going to be into that. But you know how you just grow up and kind of find like, oh yeah, this makes sense. But as a kid, I was kind of just a straight arrow, like I said, perfectionist and kind of grasping at control by trying to have a normal, I'm going to get straight A's and I'm going to do all the stuff. And so where did it come from? I remember when I was 5, my parents got divorced. So that was the first time I was like, oh, dads can go away, homes can go away. And at
Mm.
this point, I'd lived in LA, New York, Miami. And so I was just kind of, it sounds really fun and cool, but I was so little. And so, and also I was being taught about Jesus. My mom's a Christian. I was being raised in church. And so I was hearing about Jesus and how he loved us. And I was seeing joyful, peaceful people. And I was also seeing Hollywood. And so it was all kind of, I
Yeah.
think, jumbled together. And I felt like a failure. This is just a huge part of my testimony, but it was like, I was even afraid of Jesus because I would hear sermons and not know context and not have any life experience yet. And I'd see
Right.
Jesus saying, you did all these things in my name. Depart from me. I never knew you. So that's kind of, that got locked in my brain. And I was just kind of, ignoring the character of God or just not knowing enough about it yet and being
Mm.
like, okay, I think I'm failing because I'm anxious all the time. So I
Wow.
don't know. I've had a lot of therapy, so I don't know if that answers your question, but
That's a, that's a great answer. Scarlett has a new book. It's called "You're the Worst Person in the World." I don't know which one I'm more impressed with, and I'm sorry, I'm a little struck here. I mean, having a mother that was on Saturday Night Live, to me, that's epic.
it's
Yeah.
pretty
But
cool.
then your dad, a fire swallower, I thought, as a kid, I always thought, man, that's about the coolest thing somebody could do. I don't know how they don't hurt themselves.
I don't know,
Wow.
man.
But
I
so
don't
that's
sorry, go ahead.
that's just so amazing. May I ask, did Katie, your friend, does she get credit in your book at all for giving you the title of the book?
Of course. And I mean, yes, we call each other bosom, like bosom friend, like Anne of Green Gables,
Yeah.
Anne and
Yeah.
Diane. It's so funny because she's so a big part of it. Now she lives in Tennessee now, and I've kind of moved all over. So our whole relationship now exists on Marco Polo, the app. It's like sending videos to
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't even, she's so intertwined into my life. I talk about her so much. So she's listening to the audiobook for the first time right now, texting me every few days, like, oh, I was the one who told you that baseboards were a thing.
Oh,
I
that's
have a
funny.
part about how I never knew about baseboards anyway.
It's a great book, and I love what you said when you said that you realized that faith was not just about you, or it's not just all about you. And I mean, that's crucial for all of us, right? I
Mhm.
think that we just get so locked into ourselves,
Mhm.
and then we realize, wait a minute, and then once we figure out, hey, we are the worst person, let's move on.
Exactly.
Sadly, there are people that get locked into that, and they never get past that thing. And like you said, that can be paralyzing.
Mhm.
Amazing. So what have you heard so far from folks that have listened to the book? And thank you for doing that. And also writing the book.
So far so good. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. People have said what I hoped they would say.
Yeah.
You put it out there and you hope. I mean, it's very confessional. I At some point in the book I said I've never been Catholic, but I kind of feel like I'm just listing all my sins. But yeah, my whole goal with the book was to just like you just said so well, Rick, point people to, so many Christians get stuck in the I'm the worst. And
Mhm.
then I think that I was one of those Christians for so long. I totally think I was a believer. I totally think I had the hope of Jesus was going to go to heaven when I died, but I lived in misery.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
didn't know how to have the joy and peace. I would see the joy and peace in people and I'd be like, I'm failing. So, I have heard that has been the takeaway from people who have read it so far. So I'm so grateful. Yeah. So
How much would you say your faith and your relationship, your closeness to God had grew while you were writing this book?
Ooh. I mean, here's the cool thing about being a Christian. You guys know it's like, what is the verse that says, he's transforming us one degree of
Right.
glory.
Right. Right.
I'm to this point now. My husband just turned 40. So we're like, joking around about being old now. And
You're
when you're
still young. You got
okay,
a
thank
lot.
you.
You got,
Well,
yeah.
I'm saying that to him all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm 36. I'm not old yet. Okay.
You're
um,
old, but not me.
exactly. Um, I'm old by association, I guess.
There you go.
But I love aging at this point in my life because I used to when I was 30, I would look back in my 20s and have this shame that I didn't need to have because of the gospel. Like, why did Jesus die if I'm not going to accept his forgiveness and, you know, tap into that peace and joy that's already available to me because of the cross, because of the resurrection. And so, I look back now and of course I look back 5 years and cringe a little bit, but then I remember like, thank goodness God is making me more like him. I'm sure that when I'm 46, I'm going to look back at this time and be like, yeah, I didn't, and I think that's how it should be. We're becoming more and more like Jesus as we walk with him. I hope.
Love it. Scarlett's new book is You're the Worst Person in the World, and you can go to youretheworstpersonintheworld.com. Assuming that your parents are still around and alive, have they read your stuff, and what do they think about it?
I think my mom is reading it. I don't know if so I don't have a relationship with my biological father, but my adoptive father, he was a SWAT guy. He's in his 60s. I go like this. He's like Johnny Bravo. He's a triangle of muscles still to this day. He's so funny and wonderful. And so you look at him and you're scared, but then he opens his mouth and he's super funny.
Yeah.
So I
Wow.
dedicated it to him. And I don't think he's read it yet. I mean, it just came out like last week. So my mom just got hers in the mail. I don't know, you guys. I'm in that phase where I'm like, I'm waiting to hear what they think. So
Yeah.
my
Awesome.
mother-in-law's reading it. She said she loves it. She's laughing and crying is what she said.
Well,
Well, I
I'm
mean, just the
looking-
title alone, that
Yeah.
would draw me in. I don't read a whole lot of books, but if I saw a book called "You're the Worst Person in the World," I'd be
Yes.
like, okay, I've got to
Yay.
read that.
Well, it's on audio. It's on Audible too. So if you're not a book reader, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. I think and I was just going to say, I think I'm going to listen to it rather than read it. It'd take me forever with all the other stuff that's going on.
I
Scarlett,
apologize in advance for my voice because I'm the one reading it and I'm not.
that's awesome. I
professional.
love it when authors read their own stuff.
Yes,
Good,
I
bad,
love it.
ugly.
Yeah.
It just comes from the soul. I mean, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So,
Right.
Charlotte, what a delight you are. We'd love to talk to you again, maybe in the summer if you're up for it. The book is called You're the Worst Person in the World. You can go to youretheworstpersonintheworld.com. And as she mentioned, you can read it. You can buy it at Amazon, no doubt, or wherever you get your books, and also listen to it on audible.com. Great stuff. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.